What's up everyone, it's Sprometheus, and today I'm bringing you what feels like a coffee YouTuber rite of passage. It feels like everyone and their cousin has their own V60 tutorial here on YouTube, and I was beginning to feel a little left out. I mean, I'm only human. Of course, I'm not going to give it some type of grandiose or hyperbolic title and tell you this is the best recipe out there because, let's face it, let's just be real, it's impossible to say that, and this isn't the movie Elf.
You did it! Congratulations! World's best cup of coffee!
But since I've been brewing on the V60 for quite a few years now, I've had a lot of time to really dial it in and observe other baristas and talk to other baristas and make other recipes and really sort of just dig into the whole brewing experience on the V60 and create a patchwork of ideas and techniques that I started to sort of put together my favorite and create what I've called my hybrid technique. But that's enough of an introduction. Let's just light this candle. First up, we're going to prepare the filter. For this one, I'm using the Cafec Light Roast filter. If you're curious about these roast-specific filters, I recently did a video about them, and I'll link that in the description as well as in the video. But this one is designed with a smooth interior to reduce surface area and a denser paper weave to collect fines. This also slows the flow and encourages more extraction and aroma. Like all other V60 filters, this one needs a nice clean fold, and then once that's done, just drop it in your dripper. Now place your stir stick into the filter on the opposite side of the fold. I prefer a glass stir stick for mellow drip because there isn't much drag, but any small diameter round stick will do, even a chopstick. Next, give the filter a pretty generous flush to remove any paper flavors or dust, and then dump out the rinse water. Today, I'm using 18 grams of coffee on a 1:16 brew ratio, but you can adjust that however you'd like. Grind up the coffee on a medium coarseness, then pour it into the rinsed filter and give it a quick couple taps to flatten out the bed. Now, this is where things begin to go a little bit differently. Instead of starting out with a flat bed, I like to use what's called the Kubomi method, which, according to the always accurate Google Translate, means depression in Japanese. This will make a bit more sense in a minute. Now that we have the coffee in the filter, grab a hold of the stir stick and move it slightly off the wall of the V60, and in a spiral pattern around the entire bed, continually getting closer to the center until it's straight out of the middle. Then carefully pull it straight out. The amount of spins may vary a bit, but more often than not, I usually find myself doing about 3 full rotations. If you've got a steady hand, when you're done, it should look something like this. In my experience, this creates a bed that is more easily saturated in the bloom phase, and when stirred, you can feel that there is very little resistance and friction, unlike in a traditional bed, which I theorize is patches of dry coffee. In terms of water temperature, with lighter coffees, I go straight into pouring while the water is still boiling. But if you prefer darker coffees, you can let it come off of boil for about 20 to 30 seconds to let it drop closer to 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 93 degrees Celsius. But once your water is ready, we can begin the bloom. Go ahead and start your timer, and for this, we're aiming to get about 50 grams into the bed relatively quickly. Start in the center of the cone, and as it fills up, hit the edges, making sure all the coffee is wet. Then quickly use the stir stick again in the same spiral pattern, just reversed from the center out. Once the timer hits 30 seconds, begin pouring in a controlled circular motion at a pace that will reach 60% of the total brew weight in around 1 minute and 15 seconds. For this recipe, this will be about 173 grams. Adding this water will ensure that there is enough thermal mass in the slurry. Then transition immediately to a controlled center pour all the way to the final brew weight of 288 grams. Adding this water should end around 2.5 to 2 minutes and 45 seconds. This center pour should mimic the same rate at which the brewed coffee is coming out of the bottom of your filter, and maintain a straight downward stream from your kettle. Think of it as one stream going straight through the dripper into whatever vessel you're brewing into. The point of this is to maintain the slurry temperature throughout the majority of the brew time. This is an idea that comes from UK Brewers Cup champion Sang-Ho Park's V60 technique, and I believe this does create a better cup in terms of sweetness and overall extraction, especially for those denser, lighter roasted coffees that tend to have a lot of complexity. Once all the brew water is in, give the dripper a quick swirl to flatten the bed and take any loose grounds off the wall of the filter. This will also assist in a more even final drawdown. From here, it's a waiting game as the remaining water draws down through the bed. Once the stream of brewed coffee slows to a drip, remove the V60 right away and stop the timer. These slow drips at the end tend to be over-extracted, and they can add some bitterness to the brew you work so hard to create. The overall brew time will vary by your coffee, your brew ratio, and your personal tastes, but for this 1:16 ratio with a medium to light coffee, it often lands for me between 3.5 to 4 minutes. And last but not least, enjoy the fruits of your labor. And that, my friends, is all there is to it. That is my hybrid V60 technique. And I know at first glance it seems a little more complicated than maybe some of the other options that are out there, but I think after you do it a couple times, you'll see it starts to flow pretty easily. And just like other V60 methods and recipes, you can always change it to varying amounts of coffee and put in your preferred brew ratio. It's pretty forgiving to all those things, it just takes a little bit of math. Also, I've gone ahead and written out the full recipe and posted it right down here in the description, so it's easier for you to look at, copy, paste, print, share, whatever you want to do with it. I know it's much easier to do it that way than to skip through the video while you're trying to make a pour over looking for all the essential pieces of the puzzle. So go ahead and give this one a try. Let me know your thoughts on this method. If you have any questions about this or anything else coffee related, feel free to drop them in the comments down below. And as always, I'll see y'all next week. A big thank you to my October Patreons, Ads, James B, Jacob P, David, Christopher, John K, Squeegee, Roe, Brian, Lisa, Obo, Andre, Rick Racer, Sean, Noel, Spookus, Bound Coffee, Mika, Samantha, Nathan, Claire, Steven, James K, Josh, Andrew, Horrison, Bobby, Corey C, Curry, Jeff Roth, Ninja Warrior Coffee, Testing 123, Jason, Dave, Jerry, RD, Tim, Matt, Tony, Zachary V, Tyler, UK Espresso, Robert Underdunk, Jeffrey, Oliver, Thomas, Daniel, Mike, James, Brian, Brandon, and Tyler. And of course, a big thank you to the barista and barback tiers. If you want any information on my Patreon, there's a link in the description and in the upper right hand corner right now. Also, a big thanks to you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Follow my Instagram at Sprometheus, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.